friends, Allie here. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to crochet this plaid basket. I'll be making the larger basket that measures approximately 10 inches by 10 inches, but I'll also give you instructions on how to make this smaller 7 by 7 basket. I'll also tell you how you can customize your basket to be any size. You can also use any color combination you'd like. I'll be making the white, gray, and black basket in this video, but after I share the supply list in a minute, I'll give you some more color combo ideas. These plaid baskets are sturdy and can be used to hold anything you'd like. They feature a fun plaid color palette, a twisted top border, and you can add crochet handles, leather handles, or no handles at all. If you want to follow along with the free written pattern, you can find it on my blog, theturtletrunk.com, or if you want the ad-free printable PDF, you can get it from my Etsy and Ravelry shops. I'll share links to all those places in the description box. Now, let's head over to our supply list and let's get making. For this pattern, you will need super bulky 6-weight yarn in 3 colors. I'll be using Lion Brand yarn Wool Ease Thick and Quick. Now to make plaid, you will want 1 light color, 1 medium color, and 1 dark color. And generally they would be all shades of the same color, but you can also use white for the lightest color and or black for the darkest color. Color A is going to be our base color, and this can either be the light color or the dark color. If making the smaller basket, color A is going to be the more dominant color, so if you want your basket to be darker, then use the dark color for A. If you want your basket to be lighter, then use the lighter color for A. If making the larger basket, the lightest and darkest colors are used the same amount, so it doesn't really matter which one is the base color, it's just personal preference. For my white, gray, and black basket, I'll be using white for color A. But for my red and black baskets I made, I used black for color A. Color B is going to be the medium color. I am using gray for my basket. Color C will either be the lightest or darkest color, whichever one you did not choose for color A, so mine will be black. You will also need 6 additional yards of yarn if you want to add crochet handles to your basket. This is optional and you can make your handles in whichever color you'd like. You can also add leather handles or add no handles at all. Other supplies you will need is an 8mm or L crochet hook, a yarn needle, scissors, and if you would like 2 leather handles, and I'll share a link below to the leather handles that I used for my baskets. Next, let's look at some other color combo ideas. So I showed you my red and black baskets, and in this video we'll be making the white, gray, and black basket, but there are so many other color combinations you can do, and you can even adjust the design to use fewer or more colors. If you want to stick with classic plaid, then choose any 3 colors, 1 light, 1 medium, and 1 dark color. You can choose colors to match a theme or holiday, like orange for fall or Halloween, or red or green for Christmas, or any colors to match or complement your decor. You can also use this pattern to make a checkerboard design. Use 2 contrasting colors instead of 3. Now this will change the pattern, so you will omit the instructions for color C, and then you just alternate between color A and B. This will also change the yardage needed for each color, so just keep that in mind. You can also try adding more than 3 colors or changing the order of the colors to make a different pattern. Again, you will need to adjust the pattern instructions and the yardage to get these designs. But once you understand how the pattern is made and how you change colors, there are unlimited possibilities on how you can design your basket. So if you're ready to get started, grab your yarn and your hook and let's get making. We're going to start with color A, which will be the base of our basket. So I'll be using white for color A. And we're going to begin by making a magic circle. To make a magic circle, take the tail end of your yarn and wrap it around your index finger and middle finger. Then cross it over and bring it to the back of your fingers. Then take your hook and go under the first strand of yarn, grab the second strand and pull it under. Then take your thumb and index finger on your hook hand to hold that loop you just pulled up in place. Then chain 1 to secure your circle. And there you have a magic circle. Now for round 1, we're going to work 8 half double crochets inside the circle. We're going to work around the loop of the circle as well as the tail end. So yarn over, insert your hook into the circle, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. There is 1 half double crochet, so we're going to repeat that 7 more times. Yarn over, insert your hook inside the circle, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Once you have all 8 half double crochets, take the tail end of yarn and pull it tight to close the hole in the center of the circle. Then we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first half double crochet of the round to join. To slip stitch, insert your hook into the top of the first half double crochet stitch of the round, yarn over and pull up a loop, then pull through the loop on your hook. Then chain 1. The chain 1 at the beginning of each round does not count as a stitch, so you will join to the top of the first stitch of the round and work your first stitch into the same space you joined to. Now we're on to round 2. For round 2, we're going to work 2 half double crochets into each stitch around. So again, starting into that same stitch that we joined to, work 2 half double crochets into that first stitch, and then work 2 half double crochets into each stitch around. When you get to the end of round 2, you should have a total of 16 stitches. Then join with a slip stitch and chain 1. Now we're on to round 3. For round 3, work 1 half double crochet into the first stitch, then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, then 2 half double crochets into the next. At the end of round 3, there will be 24 stitches. Join and chain 1. And if you want to customize the size of your basket, you can stop increasing the base at the end of any round when you reach your desired size. And then just move on to round 9 for the rest of the pattern. I'll put a timestamp below to when that is. But I'm going to continue on to make mine larger. So now we're on to round 4. For round 4, work 1 half double crochet into the first stitch, then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch, then we're going to repeat 1 half double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. So 1 half double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, then 2 half double crochets into the next. And we're going to repeat that all the way around until only 1 stitch remains. I'm coming up to the end of round 4 and there is 1 stitch left. So I'm going to work 1 half double crochet into that last stitch. And at the end of the round, we'll have 32 stitches. join and chain 1, and now we're on to round 5. For round 5, half double crochet into each of the first 3 stitches, then work 2 half double crochets into the next, and then we'll repeat that around. So 1 half double crochet into each of the first 3 stitches, then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. Repeat that around, 1 half double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches, then 2 half double crochets in the next. At the end of round 5, there will be 40 stitches, join and chain 1. Now, if you're making the smaller 7-inch basket, you will stop here and move on to round 9. If you're making the larger 10-inch basket, we'll continue on to round 6. For round 6, we'll start by working 1 half double crochet into each of the first 2 stitches. Then work 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. Then we're going to repeat working 1 half double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. Then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. Again, repeat working 1 half double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches, then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch, and repeat until 2 stitches remain. In the last 2 stitches, work 1 half double crochet into each stitch, then join and chain 1, and at the end of round 6, there will be 48 stitches. Now for round 7, work 1 half double crochet into each of the first 5 stitches, then 2 half double crochets into the next. Repeat that around, 1 half double crochet into each of the next 5 stitches, then 2 half double crochets in the next. At the end of round 7, there will be 56 stitches. Join and chain 1. Round 8 is going to be the last round of the base for our large basket. We're going to work 1 half double crochet into each of the first 3 stitches. Then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. Then we'll repeat working 1 half double crochet into each of the next 6 stitches, then 2 half double crochets in the next. Repeat that around until 3 stitches remain. 1 half double crochet into each of the next 6 stitches, then 2 half double crochets in the next. In the last 3 stitches of the round, we'll work 1 half double crochet in each stitch. then join and chain 1, and at the end of round 8, there'll be 64 stitches. Now we're going to move on to working the sides of our basket. But if you want an even larger basket, you can continue increasing the base until you reach your desired size. So for round 9, we're going to switch the stitch we're using. We'll now be using an extended single crochet. It's the same height as a half double crochet, but it doesn't lean like a half double crochet does. So the extended single crochet is going to keep our basket lines and squares nice and straight and even. Also for this round, we're going to be working in the 3rd loop only. So if we look at the top of our stitches, there are 2 loops on the top where we'd usually work through, but for this round, we're going to work through the 3rd loop, which is on the back side of the stitch. So here is the front loop, here is the back loop, and then there's the 3rd loop hidden behind. We're going to work through that 3rd loop, which is going to create a ridge around the bottom of our basket and give us a nice flat base, and then the walls will go straight up instead of rounding up. So we're going to start our first square, continuing with color A. To begin round 9, we're going to work an extended single crochet in each of the first 4 stitches. To make an extended single crochet, insert your hook into the 3rd loop of the first stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through the first loop on your hook. Yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. That's 1 extended single crochet. So again, in the next stitch, insert your hook in the 3rd loop. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through the first loop on your hook. Yarn over, pull through both loops on your hook. So far we have 2 stitches, so we'll work 2 more extended single crochets in the next 2 stitches. On the 4th stitch, we're going to change colors on the final pull through. So start the stitch by inserting your hook into the 3rd loop and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through the first loop on your hook. And then before doing our final pull through where we pull through both loops on your hook, we're going to change colors. So we're going to drop our current color, color A, and we're going to pick up our next color, color B. So I'm going to be using gray for my color B. So do the final pull through with color B, leaving a long enough tail end that you can weave it in. And now we'll continue working with color B. So each square will be 4 stitches wide, so we're going to alternate between color A and B every 4 stitches. Since we're doing so many color changes in a row, we're going to carry the non-working yarn with us. So when we're ready for the next change, it's right there ready to be used. So we'll hold the non-working yarn through our work and work our stitches around it so it will be hidden behind but still carried along. So working our next extended single crochet, now with color B, insert your hook into the next 3rd loop, making sure to also work around the color A yarn. And just a quick tip, if you hold that non-working yarn strand behind the stitch, so behind the 3rd loop, it'll help make sure you won't see the non-working yarn strand on the front of your basket. Doesn't matter too much since it's white on white, but when we change colors, it'll be more noticeable, so it's best just to get used to holding the strand behind. So to continue this stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first loop on your hook, yarn over, pull through both loops on your hook. After the first stitch after a color change, I like to pull on the non-working yarn slightly just to pull any slack that may have been loosened when changing colors. Just don't pull too tight, you don't want to cinch up your stitches. So now we're going to work 3 more extended single crochets across with our color B yarn. On this 4th extended single crochet, we're going to change colors again. So start the stitch as normal, then we'll change colors on the final pull through. So before doing the final pull through, drop color B, pick up color A and pull through with color A. Again, I like to give the strand a slight tug to pull any slack, but don't pull too tight. We'll now work 4 extended single crochets with color A and carry our non-working color B yarn throughout. And we're just going to repeat this pattern around for round 9. So change from color A to B every 4 stitches. So I'm going to continue on and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I'm coming up to the end of round 9. Our last square of the round will be in color B. And since our first square of the next round will be color A, we'll change colors on the last stitch of this round. To end the round, we'll join with a slip stitch to the first extended single crochet of the round. And while making our join, we're going to work around our non-working yarn 2 to bring it up to this level for our next round, since we'll be continuing to change colors for the round 2. If making the smaller 7-inch basket, your stitch count will now be 40. If making the larger 10-inch basket, your stitch count will now be 64. So chain 1 and we're ready for round 10. So for this round and the rest of the basket, we're no longer working in the 3rd loop. We're just working our stitches normal in the top 2 loops as you normally would. But you can see how nice and flat and round the base is, and how when we worked in the 3rd loop, it created this nice ridge around the bottom. So continuing on now with round 10, starting with our color A yarn, we'll repeat what we did for round 9, but we're now working in the top 2 loops of the stitches. So work extended single crochets in each of the first 4 stitches. And then on the final pull through of the 4th stitch, we'll change to color B. Now with color B, 4 more extended single crochets, and we'll just repeat that around for round 10. 4 extended single crochets with color A, then 4 extended single crochets with color B. I'm coming up to the end of round 10, and we'll change back to color A on the final pull through of the last stitch. Then join. Don't forget to bring color B along. And then chain 1. Now we're on to round 11, and we're going to repeat round 10. So 4 extended single crochets with color A, then 4 extended single crochets with color B, and repeat. I'm coming up to the end of round 11. This will be the last round of these squares. Each square will be 3 rounds tall. And we'll be starting the next round with color B, so we do not need to change colors on this last stitch. We're going to continue into the next round with color B. So you can join and chain 1. And even though we will not be using color A for the next 3 rounds, we're going to still carry it behind our join at the end of each round so that when we do need it again, it's ready for us and we don't need to drag it up from down here. So join, carrying up the non-working yarn, and then we're ready for rounds 12 to 14. So the next 3 rounds will all be the same. Now we're just alternating between color B and C. So we'll start the round with color B, working extended single crochets into each of the first 4 stitches. We will leave color A here at the beginning. We do not need to carry it with us for the next 3 rounds, but we will be using it again for the next set of squares, so you don't need to cut it off, just leave it here. So to start, work 4 extended single crochets with color B. On the 4th stitch, we're going to change to color C. Again, leave a long enough tail that you can weave that in later. And now work 4 extended single crochets with color C. And just like the previous rounds, we'll alternate every 4 stitches, now between color B and C. I'm coming up to the end of round 12. On the last stitch of the round, we'll change to color B. Then join, carrying up the non-working yarn strands, so that's both the color A and C strands. Then chain 1. For rounds 13 and 14, we're going to repeat the last round. So 4 extended single crochets with color B, then 4 extended single crochets with color C, and repeat. So I think you get the idea now. So after working round 14, we'll change back to alternating between colors A and B and work another set of squares. If you're making the small 7-inch basket, you will stop at the end of round 17. That will be a total of 3 squares tall. If you're making the larger 10-inch basket, then we will work 2 more sets of squares, ending with colors B and C. So I'm going to continue on and I'll catch back up with you at the end of round 20. So again, finish this set of squares. Then if you're making the smaller basket, work 1 more set of squares with colors A and B. If you're making the larger basket, work 2 more sets of squares after this one. So 1 with colors A and B, and then ending with colors B and C. I'm coming up to the end of round 20. As you can see, I have 4 squares up. If you're making the small basket, you will have 3 squares up. So this is the end of our squares. We are gonna work one more round for our top border. So you can change to any color you want for the top border. I'm gonna use color A for mine, so I'll change to color A, but you can use whichever color you'd like. Then join and chain 1. And we are done with our other yarn strands, so you don't have to worry about carrying them through the join. You can just leave them and cut them. Just leave a long enough tail end so that you can weave them in. I'm going to weave in all of my ends at the end, so we can now move on to the border. For the border, we are going to work a twisted single crochet around. It's a really cool and fun stitch that has a twisted look and makes a really nice edge. One thing to keep in mind for this stitch is that you want to keep the yarn on your hook loose. To begin, insert your hook into the first stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. Make sure your yarn is loose. Then we're going to turn our hook counterclockwise 360 degrees, like so. Then yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. There is one twisted single crochet. And we're going to repeat that in each stitch around. So again, make sure your yarn is loose. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, turn your hook counterclockwise 360 degrees. Yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. There you can see the stitches forming. You can see that little twisted edge. So we're just going to repeat this in each stitch around. So I'm just coming up to the last stitch. Then we can join to the top of the first twisted single crochet. Then tie off our yarn and we can weave in all of our ends. Once all your ends are woven in, you can then leave your basket as is with no handles, or you can add leather handles or crochet handles or any type of handles you'd like. But I'll show you the leather handles I used, then I will show you one way to crochet handles. So I use these leather handles I got from Knits and Pearls. I'll link to them below. I really like them. They measure about 6 inches across and have 4 holes on each side to sew them onto your basket. They perfectly fit across 3 squares, so it's easy to line them up and you can use matching yarn to sew them on. There are different colors available. I got black and this light brown, but there's several other colors to choose from as well. But if you want to just crochet handles, I'll show you one way to do so. So grab whatever yarn color you want for your handles. I'll be using color A, and we're just going to make 2 Romanian cords for our handles. These have a nice look to them and they're sturdy. They can be kind of tricky to get started, but once you get the hang of it, they're quite quick and easy. So start with a slip knot on your hook and then chain 2. One thing to keep in mind is to keep your tension loose, or else it'll be hard to work back through your stitches. So keep the yarn on your hook loose after every stitch. Now before we do our next step, I want you to notice this loop under our hook. It's the bottom loop from our second chain. In the step after this one, we'll be working into this loop, so remember where it is. If you need to, you can add a stitch marker here. But first we're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook. And instead of working into that top chain, we're going to work in the back bump of the chain. This will give us a nicer look in the end. So if you look at the back of the chain, there's a little bump there. So single crochet in that back bump of the second chain from the hook. And then turn your work. You can see that loop I mentioned at the beginning. Again, remember where that is because we'll be working into that next. So turn your work, make sure the yarn on your hook is loose. And there is that loop. So now we're gonna single crochet into that loop. So yarn is loose on the hook, insert your hook into that loop. Single crochet. So those were just the first few steps to get our cord started. And from now on, we're just going to repeat the next step to make the rest of our cord. So turn your work. Now there will be 2 loops on the left side here. So we'll single crochet into these 2 loops. Again, make sure your yarn is loose. If it's too tight, it will be very difficult to work into these loops. So just go slow and make sure that your yarn is loose on every step. So single crochet into those 2 loops. Now we're going to turn our work again. Single crochet into the 2 loops again on the left side. And we're just going to keep repeating that. So you can just keep working your cord until it's about 6 inches long or however long you'd like it. I think I repeated step 4 about 18 times and that gave me a 6-inch long cord. So just keep going until you reach your desired size. So my cord is about 6 inches long. So to end it, I'm going to chain 1 and cut off my yarn, leaving a long enough tail for me to sew it to my basket. So about 6 inches or so. Now make a second cord that's the same size and then we will sew them onto our basket. The large basket has a total of 16 squares around. So to sew my handles evenly apart, I'm going to sew each across 3 squares and then have the handles 5 squares apart. You can place yours anywhere, just try and make them evenly spaced. So I'm just going to use the tail ends I have from my cord. If yours aren't long enough, you can attach new yarn to sew them on. Now I am not the best at sewing pieces together, so don't judge my sewing here, but just do the best you can. Just work a few passes on each side of the handle until it feels secure. Once you have the first handle done, you can repeat it on the other side with the second handle. There we have our Romanian cord handles and our beautiful plaid basket. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget you can find this free written pattern and many more free crochet patterns on my blog, theturtletrunk.com. If you want to see more from me, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at The Turtle Trunk, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.